So if you haven't caught up on this video, this is part 3 of this particular set of videos. And what I'd like to offer you in this particular principle should stick out is the fact that bigotry is an emotional state, that prejudice is a thought process. So bigotry is an emotional state and prejudice is a thought process, which now leads us to discrimination. And discrimination is an act. It is acting out your thoughts and your emotions. And so prejudice has become problematic for us in a number of ways, because prejudice, it is the result of those things, but it is also a legal process that many people who are trying to fight discrimination are ill-equipped for. It is above their pay grade to even deal with discrimination. Discrimination can only be remedied through a legal process, which means that the legal process is the way by which we augment, change, talk about, engage, rectify the wrongs created by discrimination. 1964 Civil Rights Act says that separation, segregation, particularly in public places, is no longer accepted, particularly when there are federal funds to be disseminated or exchanged. Discrimination is a legal process. And so who should be fighting for trying to struggle with these things around discrimination? HR departments should be struggling with that. EEO coordinators, the NAACP, the ACLU, private and public attorneys who understand the law and its ramifications should be engaged in this process of identifying discriminatory practices and trying to rectify those things. So if we're not supposed to be working on discrimination, what should we be working on, Andre? Well, it's very obvious that emotions plus thoughts dictate our behaviors. And so why do we have discrimination? I would suggest that we continue to have discrimination, not because people are working on it, but because people are working on the wrong thing. See, what we've done is we have this mathematical equation that says emotions plus thoughts equals behaviors. That bigotry plus prejudice equals discrimination. And discrimination is being handled outside of us. It is a part of a legal process that is outside of most of our abilities to interact with and engage with. And so what becomes our responsibility? Our responsibility is to help people change their emotions and their thoughts. That's our responsibility as laymen, if you will. But we haven't wanted to step up to that responsibility because the easy stuff is the stuff that always seems so hard. Being fair and being loving and challenging our stereotypes and the things that people have taught us is the easy thing to do, but it seems so hard. So we've created a buffer between us, something that we allow to give us a buffer so we don't have to be as accountable. And we've created this thing called political correctness. Now, the interesting thing about political correctness is the basic tenet of political correctness is not saying something that will offend them, whoever they are and whatever that something is, right? And so we end up saying things like, don't say that in front of them. Don't do that in front of those people. But what we don't typically talk about is the other side of that, or what comes after that pause, which is, but you can do it when you get home. I got to tell you, folks, I am a person that believes in being holistic, that everything that we do is connected to everything else that we do, and that I can't be one place, I can't be one kind of person in one space, in one place, and then turn around and be something totally different in another place, in another space. I'm a whole person, so no matter where I go, there I am, 100% me. And I would suggest that the same is true for you, that you can't be a bigot or be prejudiced at home and then try to show up in the world in a different kind of way, because that stuff leaks out. So what do? The primary goal, the primary thing we should be working on is remembering that everybody's going after the same things. We're looking for significance, belonging, and safety. And that those goals are really great goals to have. And those goals are not problematic. But typically what is problematic is our methods to getting those goals. And so how do you start to fight discrimination? Well, it's up to each and every one of us to help change people's emotional states and help change how people think. And the way that we change how people think is that we ask questions. We engage them in a thought process that opens up a space for them to actually think about what it is that they're saying. And so in that way, we start to change the world, and we do it. It is so easy. All we have to do is love the people around us and love the people that don't necessarily love us back. And we'll talk about this whole respect thing in just a little bit. But we have to give authentic respect, but you can only give that respect when you're in an authentic relationship. My name is Koen, and that is today's principle.